Welcome to this press conference of the EPP. Thank you for being patient because we are late, so without any delay, I give the floor to the chairman of the group, Manfred. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your interest, for us as an EPP group, but I would also say for the European Parliament, it's a quite important day today. I first want to underline that from an EPP point of view, we are credible. You can count on us. We voted 2.5 years ago due to a written agreement among all political groups in the European Parliament in favour of David Sassoli as the president of this institution. And I want to thank David Sassoli because the last 2.5 years were very critical, very difficult years. And he did a good job to protect the European Parliament. We kept the Parliament functioning, and that was a big achievement during his mandate as president of this institution. Having said this, I want to underline that for the EPP, we always were clear in our communication. After the summer break, we said that we first will go for the presidency re-election, and there was a strong support for the whole presidency of the EPP Group, and then we will nominate our candidate for the president of the Parliament. And this happened today. We are clear about the procedure because we did this with 3 very strong candidates. It was Othmar Karas in alphabetical order, then Esther de Lange and Roberta Metsola. I want to thank especially the 2 candidates who today not won the competition inside of the EPP Group. They delivered a fair and very strong competition internally about the post of the President of the European Parliament. And I want to underline that we did this in a secret ballot dance, in a secret vote, that we did this really in a very democratic way in the European People's Party Group. We are clear about the role of a President of the European Parliament. It's about the institution. It's not about party politics at all. It's about the institution, which should be in the center of the debate. And there, I think our candidate represents really the majority opinion of, I would call it the Ursula von der Leyen majority, of the colleagues who are in the center of the landscape, of the political landscape, the pro-European parties of the European Parliament. We want to represent all MEPs, and we want to strengthen the European Parliament in the second half of the mandate. I can tell you that today, already in the first round of the nomination process, we had a clear winner. And with more than 64% of support, the EPP Group nominated today Roberta Metsola as a candidate for the President of the European Parliament. I want to underline that this is has for us a lot of, let me say, links, if I may say so. The first link is for us that after more than 20 years, we nominated a candidate who is not from one of the bigger countries of the European Union. So Roberta Metsola is from one of the smaller countries of Europe, and in our group, it's about the personality, about the strengths of the individual MEP who is nominated. I think that is a good signal. The second thing I want to underline is that she has a clear idea, and she presented today a clear idea about the presidential role, the institution, and what we should do in the next 2.5 years. And I want to underline that we present, after more than 20 years, a female candidate for the President of the European Parliament. This is already a long time ago that we had a female candidate, and we as EPP do so. And if I may say, if she will be elected, and I am sure that she will be elected, she will be the youngest president in the history of the European Parliament. Also an aspect which I want to underline when we present today Roberta Metsola as a strong and convincing candidate for becoming president of this institution. I just want to tell you about the next steps. So as a group leader, I will approach now the other political families. We will have talks then about the support. I got already a lot of positive signals from other political families. So we will start these talks. And I want to commit again that the EPP group is ready to pick up the idea of Renew to again formulate a coalition agreement, a kind of a coalition agreement to define what is in the next 2.5 years in front of us. EPP is ready to pick up this idea of Renew to formulate such a coalition agreement for the upcoming rest of the legislative period. So I'm happy today, I'm really happy today that we have such a convincing and strong candidate. And Roberta, it's now up to you to present yourself, please.
Manfred, thank you so much. First of all, let me start by saying that I am truly honoured to have been given a strong mandate by the EPP Group to be our family's candidate for President of the European Parliament. It was, as you said, a very fair and open campaign with discussions between all the candidates, with all the members, all the colleagues, whereby we have set out what we think this Parliament should look like going into the second half of the mandate of this legislature. The next 2.5 years will be among the most critical for the European Parliament as we emerge from a devastating pandemic, and also it will become clear that it will fall onto the constructive forces of this House to plug the holes in our foundations as we build higher and restore the role. As you said, Manfred, our first priority now, and my first priority now, will be to do as I've always done since I got elected to this House in 2013, and that is to create alliances, to build bridges with constructive pro-European forces in this House in order to go into the second half of this mandate stronger from all aspects, both in terms of politics and the legislation, in the decisions we take, but also the image we give as a European Parliament to the rest of the world. Thank you.
Is there any question?
Thank you, Edith de Vries from the Netherlands. I have a question for Ms. Metsola and a question for Mr. Weber. Madam Metsola, what will you do different than the present president? How will you come with proposals to allow interruptions or real debate? What will be the change that you will be bringing? And for Mr. Weber, I want to know, can you elaborate a little bit more on why you yourself were not a candidate?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the question. I look forward to a Parliament that reopens over the next 2.5 years with a very open, accessible debate. As you know, a very good and important process was set up with the focus groups over the past summer, and it is there. I have been very closely involved and heavily involved in them, where we discuss at this Parliament what we want, both in terms of debating culture, both in terms of debating each other and discussing where we want Europe to be, also building up in the next 2.5 years how we go to the 2024 election with a very strong Parliament, with a strong voice, in order to encourage as many people as possible to vote in those elections, because this is ultimately how we have to go back to them with what we have decided, what laws we have passed, what decisions we have taken, but what political messages we have given, in order for us to prove to them that this Parliament is truly a leader in the world, and that's what I would like to see this Parliament do.
I deeply believe that building up a true European democracy, it's needed to have a strong Parliament. That is one aspect, but it's also needed when you also compare it with the national level, to build up strong European parties. Without parties, without alternatives, without strong offer in an election campaign, you cannot build up a democracy. And that is the second pillar, let me say, of a strong democracy on European level. You know that our party president, Donald Tusk, decided not to run again as party leader. He is committed to fight in Poland against those who are risking rule of law, those who are risking also the European identity of the country. And that's why he will give up on the post of EPP president, and I want to be his successor. That is what I want to do. There I want to invest my capacity and to do it together in the big EPP family. And I'm proud that we had 3 strong candidates inside of EPP family, and we have now a very convincing candidate to the other groups for the president, for the future of the European Parliament.
Would you allow me to come back to one element you say? I understand that you want to give more power, more energy into German politics, let's call it that way. But in Germany, the Christian Democrats for the next coming 4 years will be in the opposition. Wouldn't it be much stronger for you if you would first be 2.5 years President of the European Parliament and then go into German politics?
I don't know how you assess things, but I was very clear that my place is in Europe, and you're right, in all levels, in all countries. European People's Party has to discuss future, and we have to define also a new idea about what Christian democracy means in today's European Union. That is a big challenge in front of us. But I can tell you, I spoke about Poland. I can speak about the Czech Republic, where we fought against Babiš and we won now. I can speak about a lot of countries where we are the fighters for a true pro-European approach with a rule of law-based identity of the country. And that's why as EPP we are very proud of this. This has to be now updated for this decade in front of us, and we will do this together as a family.
Laura.
Hi, thank you very much. First of all, congratulations to Mrs. Metsola, but my question is for Mr. Weber. I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit on the positive signals that you're getting from other groups, since the Socialists decided yesterday to work on an alternative majority to Mrs. Metsola, and the Renew leader was not super clear in supporting the 2019 agreement. Where are you getting these positive signals? Thank you.
So we are at the beginning of a process. So the first step is that we have a clear idea, and again, our plan was very clear, and we did it step by step as an EPP group. I think nobody was surprised about what we are doing, so because it was crystal clear. And now the next step is to talk with the others. That is our approach. Again, the offer of the EPP is first of all a strong candidate. The offer of EPP is that we want to build up a coalition which finally delivers to the interests of citizens. And I said this also yesterday in my press conference. I hope that everybody really sees all the next steps from the perspective of citizens. And the citizens in Europe want to see us now delivering on Fit for 55, on the climate change issue, on the digital, on all these aspects which are currently on our table. And I hope that others will not harm this with party politics. So that's why we offer as EPP this coalition together with Renew, and then let's see how the others will react. Again, I want to start with a positive offer.
We take a last question in the back of the room, and I want to thank especially the colleagues of DG Com and DG Link and the interpreters for waiting this evening for our press conference. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Francesco Bortoletto from the Italian website Europa Today. First of all, again, congratulations to Ms. Metsola on her bid for candidacy. And my question is both to the candidate and to Mr. Weber. So you have been talking about coalitions in the parliament. So what is actually the future of the coalition with the S&D group, with the socialists? Has it been put on question? And does this change any balance of power in the House or in European politics in general? And do you think, lastly, that any alliance within the parliament based on a contact with Renew can actually work without support from any group left of center? Thank you very much.
So thank you for that question. That is a question I think that we, all of us as members of the European Parliament, whichever committee we work in, question and work towards. We are given files, reports, opinions, negotiations of resolutions, and the first task we would have, and that's what I've been doing for the past years since I've been elected, is to build majorities. And what I have done is to look to my colleagues, with whichever forum that I would be, in order to build that pro-European centrist majority, whether it was, let's say, in the Civil Liberties Committee or in the Environmental Affairs Committee, but also now, where I sit as First Vice President in the Bureau. I think what it takes is persons who can sit with their colleagues, negotiate and seek majorities. That is what I will do at all levels that I will work in, and that includes, of course, the Socialist, the S&D group, with whom I have worked constantly and consistently and also concretely, because they know me and I know my colleagues there, over the next few weeks, in order to get the majority that is needed for the next president to be the representative. And with that humility, I would be the next president of this parliament.
I know that everybody is interested about the upcoming negotiations, but please allow me to underline again, today it's a day that we present our candidate. That's, I think, understandable for everyone. And I can tell you we have more than 64% in the first round with two strong competitors for a better. So the EPP group is united. We are backing our candidate. We have a strong mandate for her. She's a brilliant candidate. I mentioned some of the things which describe her. And I think we will offer a good idea for how the institution can be managed. That is now ahead of us. Today, it's a day of unity of the EPP Group. Today, it's a message that you can trust in us. We are reliable. We hope that others will do so, the same. And today, it's a message that EPP come forward with a great candidate. That is the message of today, and I'm sure that this will be a convincing message.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much.